Belly fat is really easy to gain, yet often the hardest area to lose. And there's actually two types. There's that annoying belly fat we all know that covers your abs, but there's also a more dangerous type of belly fat stored deep within your organs known as visceral fat, which can create serious health problems. To find the most effective way to get rid of both types of belly fat, I reached out to 5 of the world's most qualified fat loss scientists and came up with 5 easy steps anyone can start doing today to lose belly fat. For the first and most important step, I spoke to Lane Norton, scientific researcher, champion powerlifter, and honestly, just a really smart dude who calls out BS when he sees it.
So why is stored belly fat so difficult to lose? Once again, we don't know the exact scientific explanation for that, but it may have something to do with the tissue being a little bit more metabolically active than other forms of stored body fat. Now, the real question is there any way around that? Well, yes, kind of. Sadly, even though we'd like to think if we do a bunch of crunches and work the area where the fat is stored, it will preferentially target that fat, there is no evidence to support that idea, and it's unlikely that that would make a difference overall. Now, there is research showing that exercise can reduce visceral fat without actually causing weight loss. So it is a good idea to exercise in general, but specific
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
That's not necessarily the case with carbohydrate and fat. This helps from the standpoint of a weight and fat loss perspective. It doesn't have to be a tough thing to try to accomplish either. I mean, on the low end, if you consume 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, which is 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, then you are at an adequate starting point.
And the last question I had is, What about visceral fat? Are there any kinds of foods that promote the storage of visceral fat? And are there foods that people can eat to avoid gaining that? Belly fat.
The reality is you don't need cardio in order to lose fat or to lose belly fat, but cardio can be a helpful thing. And one of the reasons for that is energy expenditure has a tendency to go down during a fat loss phase. So of course there will be some reduction normally in resting metabolic rate, but non-exercise activity thermogenesis is another really key thing that can change during a fat loss phase. So non-exercise activity is basically everything that exists between resting and doing structured exercise. So walking to the mailbox, walking around at your work or your school, anything that fits between those two extremes of exercising on purpose and, just kind of totally resting. It's usually the second biggest contributor to total daily energy expenditure for most people. And so unfortunately, when we diet, a lot of people notice their non-exercise activity thermogenesis goes down pretty significantly. So cardio can be a really helpful thing in keeping your expenditure higher when that non-exercise activity starts to go down over time. So you're just trying to kind of keep things steady by adding some cardio to the mix. For some people, it's even just purely behavioral. We might just say, hey, use the stairs instead of the elevator and park at the back of the parking lot instead of the front. So everything that gets you moving counts.
But even with proper nutrition and exercise, a recent 2022 study found there's an often overlooked variable that can still prevent you from losing belly fat. To explain this study is exercise science professor and body composition researcher Bill Campbell.
This new study was very unique in that it was the first ever investigation to assess a lack of sleep and how it affects where body fat is stored. They took 12 healthy males and females who on average slept about 7.5 hours per night. They had these subjects live in a research sleep lab and then placed them into 2 different sleep conditions. The first condition was a sleep-restricted condition where they were allowed to sleep only 4 hours per night. The other condition was a normal sleep condition where they were allowed to sleep 9 hours per night. And during this entire process, they were allowed to eat as much and whatever food they wanted to eat. So after 2 weeks in each condition, here's what happened. The sleep-restricted subjects, on average, consumed 300 more calories per day, and they gained about 1 pound of body weight when compared to the subjects when they were in the normal sleep stage. But here's where things get really interesting. The subjects that were sleep-restricted, they gained 8% more subcutaneous body fat than the normal sleep condition. They only gained about 4%. The other part of our bellies that stores fat is called the visceral region, or visceral body fat. And that's the dangerous body fat because that's associated with a lot of adverse health outcomes. The sleep-restricted condition caused an increase in 11% of this visceral body fat. In the normal sleep condition, they didn't gain any. Now again, we would expect they ate more calories, they gained a little bit more body weight, so we would expect a little bit of a gain in body fat, but not nearly to the extent that we saw as it was localized to the belly region, to the abdominal region. So this study suggests that there may be a link to sleep restriction leading to overeating, which causes a gain in body fat that is preferentially stored in the belly region. So my takeaway from this is to make sure that you prioritize sleep. I would suggest that you get about 7 hours per night and that you do not overlook the importance of this.
Now I know some of you might be thinking, okay, well, the subjects were overeating. What about if I'm still in a calorie deficit? Does sleep still matter as much? And that's a valid question. And a 2010 study actually tested this. Researchers put 2 groups of subjects on a weight loss diet with the same amount of calories. The only difference was one group slept 8.5 hours per night, while the other group slept only 5.5 hours per night. The result? Both groups lost a similar amount of total weight. Both groups also did lose some muscle because they weren't lifting weights, but the well-slept group lost 1.6 times less muscle and lost 2.3 times more fat than the sleep-restricted group, suggesting that a lack of sleep alone may in fact lead to more muscle loss and less fat loss during a diet. So you've now got all the tools you need to lose belly fat, but there's one more thing you need to add to your plan. Failure to do this is why so many people start out strong yet never end up successfully losing their belly fat. Lauren Conlon, a master coach, exercise scientist, and IFBB bikini pro will help explain what this missing piece is.
All right, let's go through what commonly happens. So a client is going to obsess over losing belly fat, even if they've seen some changes on the scale or seen improvements in other areas of their body. Since there hasn't been much change in their belly fat, they're going to feel like what they're doing isn't working or it's not happening fast enough. Some clients are just going to give up right then, while others are going to slash their calories or increase their cardio. This increase in their deficit is typically unsustainable though, so they're going to fall off plan and inevitably quit. First, it's important to recognize that unless genetically you have little body fat on your abs and core area, that you will probably need to get leaner than you'd think to lose belly fat. For many people, the belly is the last area where you're going to see fat come off. But in the meantime, you can pay attention and be proud of the progress that you've made in other areas like your face and your shoulders and your legs, and trust that if you remain patient, that eventually you'll start to see more and more progress in these problematic and stubborn areas. Second, take multiple measures of progress. You can use scale weight and measurements as quantitative feedback, but we also want to look at qualitative feedback, such as how your clothes are fitting, how you're looking, and how much better that you're feeling. Don't just obsess over your belly. And lastly, and probably most importantly out of this entire video, be patient and recognize that you're usually quitting right before it gets good, okay? It doesn't matter how perfect your program is, Unless you are patient and remain consistent, you are shortchanging yourself and your results. You owe it to yourself to make this change. So don't give up, follow or create a great program, adjust it when it's necessary, and take your time. Your belly fat didn't get there overnight, so you're not gonna lose it in a few weeks either.
I want to give a huge thank you to all 5 of the experts who helped with the video. Guys, these 5 truly are the best of the best. I've been following and looking up to them for many years, ever since I started my own fitness journey, so being able to interview them and share their work with you guys is such an honor. And I've put links to all their social media websites down below so you can go give them a follow. And if you're interested in joining a science-based plan to transform your body as efficiently as possible, just take my free quiz at builtwithscience.com and I'll let you know what program is best for you and your body. Give this video a watch next for an exercise plan that can help speed up fat loss, and I'll see you next time.